Alright, let's talk about Wistoria 1 and Sword Season 2, Episode 3. If you want to see my rescue, check it out on Patreon, and of course, you can get exclusives as well, and subscribe, get a notification bell, like, do all that good stuff. But yeah, well, this episode was really, really good, bro. Now, I am not gonna harp on the Rusty stuff again. I said my piece. I stand by everything I said last episode in my last review of this video, of this show. I stand by it. I will not be dissuaded from the coincidences that people are seeing. So instead, we're going to focus on everything else that's happening. So this episode was really good in that we got to not only see what's going on with Will, obviously, but we also got to see what's happening around the city, which is cool, because what's happening around the city is not cool. It's not great. It is not great, honestly. Like, I don't know how to put this in a way that is not like graphic, but this is a shit show. What's going on? Everything's fucked up. Like, they were just all completely screwed, genuinely. But with that said, as I was saying, we see a lot of stuff going on. Not great, all around the board, honestly. And despite everything not going on, we also got to see, of course, Will get saved by Workner, who's on the flying dragon thing, I think. I don't know what they're called, if they were ever called something, but he's really cool. And I don't really want to harp too much on what happens, because, like, too much happened. You'd have to see my reaction to it for me to properly tell you how I feel about it. But what I will say is, I like this. What I will say is I like the scene with Edward and the dwarves. I thought that was a good scene in that I don't hate Edward. I never hated him. I disliked him because he was an asshole to Will. But I also knew deep down that he wasn't doing this just because. Like, he's not... He had a reason. And so I liked him as a character. And I also did appreciate when he was talking to the dwarves and he's like, yo, go die to protect the tower to the dwarves. And they're like, the fuck? Why would we do that for you humans? We've already been running ourselves ragged and dying anyways. So why would we do that? And he's like, no, what's her name? Gina. She's like, are you telling us to go die again? And he's just like, yes, he is. And then he says, to protect the capital, to protect the people, the children. And like he makes good points as to why it would be okay to potentially die for the greater good. But what I really enjoyed about that scene is then, as Gina's about to die, Edward comes in and is like, yo, I'll take the hit. He saves her and gets hit in the process. And then he proceeds to say that at this point, that their lives are worth more than his, because magic doesn't really work on them, on the creatures, whatever they're called again. And so that was cool in that he practiced what he preached. Like, Edward is not a man who's like all talk. He's not. He backs up what he says. And I respect the hell out of that for him, man. I just really like him as a character. But then at another point in the episode, we also see Finn show up and he grabs a sword. And like, at first I was like, oh, is he gonna fight? No, he's not, man. That's unfortunate. I think it'd be cool to see him fight. But like, that doesn't happen. Instead, Will, he got saved by Workner. But in the process of escaping, Workner is confronted by Mars, who sends a big attack, and Workner retaliates. It doesn't completely work. And then we find out on the ground that Workner has a giant hole in him. Because of course he does, man. First Rusty, who, as far as I'm concerned, is his own person, is not a clone. And now Workner, man. The only difference is that for some reason Workner's still alive. And I have no idea how. We see his wounds like start to heal, I guess. Or at least his blood start to go up. So I mean, like, and something happening, I don't know why. But Finn's like, yo, he's okay once he gains his pulse back. casually says that like he's not like the dude doesn't have a hole in him. But before he collapses and almost dies, essentially, basically, he's like, "Yo, Will, you can use a magic, and you can do this." And Will, this whole time, Workner's standing there, and Will is like, "No, I can't do it. I'm useless. I can't do this. Like all this jazz, all this whining, and all that." And all I can think about the whole time in this scene is like, is the fact that Will's doing all that whining and stuff, and like valid, of course, it's valid. Like he's valid for all the crashing out and whining and all that. He's a kid still. But what I couldn't stop thinking about is how he's doing all that, and Workner's just standing there, hole in his body, could be dying, and he's just, I just imagine he's like, Jesus Christ, come on, talk faster, bro. Like, get to the point. Even though we know that apparently he's not gonna die now, so that's probably why he wasn't in a hurry. But it's just funny to think about. And then, before he can tell him what his magic is, he dies, supposedly, or at least he stops breathing. Then Finn comes in, tells us everything about how Workner's not dying, apparently. And then he explains that the magic that Will has, it's not fire or wind or whatever. It's like a magic, like emotions, like his inner him. And he finds out, and he wonders what, and he asks him what he calls it, because Will's like standing up, because Finn gives a really good speech, honestly, really good. It's not an Erwin from Attack on Titan level speech, but it's a pretty decent speech. I just had a thought. Do you think Erwin from Attack on Titan could rally the troops, rally the city? Like if he showed up here in Wistoria, wand and sword, somehow, like ignoring the fact that like obviously he's from a different show, but do you think he could do it? I think he could, because these are kind of the monsters are kind of like Titans. Granted, magic, so there is kind of magic in Attack on Titan. Actually, if you think about it, okay, the world's not so dissimilar. So, okay, off topic. Answer that question in the comment down below if you're still watching this. But off topic, but back on topic. He gives a speech. Will's standing up, ready to go. Finn, for some reason, bleeds and drops some blood on his the sword that he stabbed into the ground, because he stabbed it into the ground. I thought he was gonna stab Will with it, honestly. Probably be funnier. But the lightning surrounds the blade. Will takes it, and he's like, "Yo, my power is courage." And then he transforms, essentially. He gains long hair, white hair, and Finn's like, "Limit her off." And that left me with more questions than answers. Who put the limiter on him? Why'd they put the limiter on him? What the fuck is Will? Is he human? If he's basically this, why can't... Isn't he basically using magic in a way? Like his hair changing color and growing longer? Isn't that kind of magic? And the speed he's running? Faster than usual? Like... It comes to a point... Can he really not use magic? Or can he like... Or is it like... Everyone's saying he can't use magic sort of thing, if we're being honest here. But he comes in, saves a lot of people, and is a really cool... he looks really cool. He has some really good shots, and he saves Sion. Then he also has a monologue while he's saving Sion, about how he was bitter or jealous and all that. And like it was just a really good scene, man. And so, I also will mention, of course, forgot to mention that actually. I was probably gonna skip it, honestly, because I don't really care about Elfaria, if I'm being honest here. But I will cover this anyways. The magic tower scene with Zeo and them, that was cool. I like Zeo as a character. We don't even know much about him, but I already do like him because, like, yeah, it's all, well, like, yeah, he's all about might makes right and all that jazz. Don't care about that. But the fact that he was willing to just give up the title of being a wand and go down there because he didn't want to be seen as pathetic, staying up there while they're all dying and all that. Massive respect to him for that. Because again, like, yeah, it's because he thinks it's pathetic and all that. It doesn't matter why he was going to do it. What matters is that he was willing to do it. Even if it was like not for them, it was for himself. The fact remains, he was willing to go down there and give up that. And I was wondering who would win in a fight, him or the carrion guy. I think Zeo wins this, honestly. especially if Zayo's angry. I feel like he'd win more. Then the Alfaria and Eren thing. That was cool, I guess. I just don't like Elfie, man. And it's not. And here's the thing: I don't hate her. I don't like her, but I don't hate her. And it's not because like of the whole Rosti situation. I just don't care about her. There's just nothing beyond being led away at a young age, and all that jazz, and being basically cooped up in the tower for so long, and all that. There's nothing compelling about her character enough for me to like her as a character. And like, yes, it could change in the future. Obviously, if we get more with her. I think she's cool. Yeah, she's pretty cool, especially the way she was going to stand up to Eren. Do I think she'd win against Eren? I don't know. I imagine. I don't think he'd lose because he gives the orders. If he's able to give the orders to them, that would imply that he's probably a little stronger than them in some way. Maybe not fully like stronger, but enough that like, he could kick their asses. Maybe not all at once. If they all ganged up on him, I'm not sure. But individually, I think I think he takes the fight. Honestly, I don't like him as a character personally. Like, his actions are, I don't like them. Rub me the wrong way. But do I think he looks cool? Yeah. Do I think he'd win? Yeah. And yeah, that's about it for this video. I just wanted to talk about this for a while because I thought, why not? Again, if you're curious what my thoughts are with Rosti and all that, you can check out my reaction on Patreon, or you can check out the last review that I did on the channel. And yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Again, Patreon is down below. Helps me out a lot, seriously, and you also get your name on one of the sides of the screen. And yeah, subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, hype the video on YouTube mobile app. And until next time, my name is Mark. Never stop being yourself. Stay safe, and I will see all you incredible people in the next video.